1. We're live.
All right, welcome back for week 8. Really trucking along here. Last week I said there's no way we could get worse, but somehow it got a lot worse. Week 6 was 6-12, 33%, and then last week was 4-12, which was 25%. We got a lot of people with only 2 picks in a lot of categories this week, so we are going to bounce back. We are slightly under. The only person that's over on units is Jamie. He's at almost 1.5 units at 22 and 19. Stone's at 16 and 19. And then myself, who you should just fade me the entire time and never listen to a single thing I say, is 13 and 22, which you could just close your eyes and just put your finger on a line and do a better job than 13 and 22. But that's all I got to say about that. Jamie, you're in the lead. I'll let you have a little open mic, whatever you want to chat about.
Well, I want to take my time to give myself a pep talk. You know, first 4 or 5 weeks did great. Last couple weeks haven't been doing so hot. So I'm putting it into the atmosphere, to the world. We're going to make some great picks this week. You guys are going to want to listen in. These are going to be some for sure. We're going to go for some W's, and we're going to get it rolling again.
Stone, do you have anything you'd like to add to that sentiment?
I mean, the similar. Like 2 weeks ago, I had 7 picks, and now I'm down to just 4 again. So, been on a cold streak, but we're gonna turn it around this week. I can feel it. Surely, 3 bad weeks in a row, not possible.
You guys are both in a place, though. You got one good week and you're way back.
Yeah.
It's going to require me to really start stringing some stuff along here
Well,
in order to
Jamie,
even
yeah,
get close.
Jamie's kind of running away with it a little bit. So I'm still within reach, but I need to start stringing some W's together.
Yeah, he's got 6 wins above you and 9 wins above me. So I mean, it can be hard on yourself, Jamie, but you have a comfortable lead here.
Got to do better.
It's
Got to
not
do
for
better.
us though; it's for the viewers, right? All right.
For my boys.
Well, yep. With that being said, I will click over here to week 8. Uh, game is normally the most exciting because that's where all the snipes happen. So we'll do that one first. Everyone has 2 picks, and then we have Stone, Jamie, and then myself in that order from the previous week's debacle. So, Stone, whenever you're ready.
I'm going to do Miami minus 9.5 against the Patriots minus 112. Um, I think last week was like the Patriots are not that good. The Bills, whatever happened, made them look super good. Um, it's in Miami, South Florida, gonna be hot. Uh, Patriots have historically not done well at Miami, and I think minus 9.5. Miami's going to be looking to bounce back, and they've showed that they have just pounded on terrible teams all season. So I'm gonna take the 9.5.
Yeah, I'm going to echo that statement. They've been beating up on the bad teams, and the good teams they played not so hot. This is a bad team.
Sweet. I actually don't have that one anywhere on my boards. I have nothing to
All right.
contribute. Yeah, so Jamie, you're up next.
All right. So I'm going to go weather related here. Kansas City versus the Broncos under 45.5 points. That's at minus 110. And the reason this is supposed to be 29 degrees and uh, I think 6 to 14 inches of snow.
What? In October?
It's
October.
in Colorado and Denver.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So, needless to say, I don't see them passing a whole lot. So I think Kansas City's defense is really good. This is probably the best one Pat has played with in his career. So they're going to hold. There hasn't been a single team to score over 21 on them. So I don't think the Broncos are going to be that team. This is going to be a low scoring, run it out. Chiefs take it home.
Yeah, just to add, I was looking at one of the lines for this game, and I pivoted off that being my first pick just because of the question mark with the snow and the weather. I just didn't feel comfortable taking that, so that's
Is it
definitely
supposed to
something
be
to watch out.
snowing? Is it supposed to be snowing during the game, or is it going to snow? Then they're going to be able to clear it out.
I think thing I saw it was supposed to snow the most before the game, but then it's still going to be like flurries and like snowing lightly during the game, but could always change.
We need a meteorologist. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jump
All
in.
right. So I got the last pick on the first round. Um, and I'm going to take a team that's hot that I originally put in my graveyard because I lost every single bet with them, and then they've been killing it. And now I'm going to bring it back, and it's probably going to be another L for me because it just seems to be what's going on. But I'm going to take Minnesota at Green Bay money line. That's at minus 120. The line right now is -1. I think it was -1.5 when I looked at it earlier in the week. I think Jordan Love is highly inaccurate, and I think that the Vikings are kind of starting to hit their stride. And I'm kind of expecting them to beat this team, put themselves in a good position for the division and for the playoffs. And so, yeah, I'm taking Minnesota money line at Green Bay.
Nice. Yeah, Minnesota's been looking good, turning it around.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
for my next one, I'm gonna take the Saints versus Colts over 43.5 at -110. The Colts' defense is pretty bad, and 5 of their 7 games so far, they have hit the over with the Colts, whatever game they're in. I think Minshew's been chucking it up. They've been scoring points somehow with Minshew, and the Colts defense isn't anything to worry about. So I think the Saints are going to be able to score too. So 5 out of 7 overs have hit for Indianapolis. So I'm going to try and ride that train.
What is the actual number for the
40,
over?
43.5.
43. Got it. Sweet. I thought this would be more exciting. I think the last couple of weeks someone has always taken someone else's pick, and that doesn't seem to be the case so far.
Not this
So
time.
with that, Jamie, you're up next.
I don't think anyone had this one on their sheet either. I got the Ravens -9.5 versus the Cardinals at -112. I think talking about a team coming into form, it's the Ravens. Quietly, their defense is now one of the best in the NFL. And you know how the Cardinals look. God knows who's playing quarterback or running back this week. I just don't see. I think the Ravens, get this one pretty easy. His defense holds strong, and Lamar keeps on chugging on from his previous performance last week.
I like it. And I have one here that I did not write down the number for, so give me 1 second.
Look it up. Look it up.
There we go. So the one I'm going to pick last for game, and nobody took it, is Houston over 22.5 team total. They're doing slightly above that with their offense in the last 5 games, but Carolina's defense in the last 5 games is averaging 32.5 points given up. That's 10 more than what the line is. I also think that Stroud versus Young is going to be, you can kind of hype that up. And with them being picked, he was picked second, so I think he's going to come out. He's going to throw it all over the place, light it up, show everyone he should have been the first overall pick. And I think they score over 22. Or excuse me, yeah, I think they score over 22. Here's where it's going to cost me, though. That number is at -140. So if it doesn't happen, it'll only take me deeper and deeper into the hole.
You just need W's now. Don't even care about the units at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, I need to just get some momentum so I could, yeah. Did anybody have any honorable mention that they wanted to share. We each only had 2 picks this week, so maybe there's something else you guys had.
I
The
like.
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. You can go ahead.
I was going to say the Jacksonville, Pittsburgh, their over under total. I mean, Pittsburgh offense is anemic. Okay, and if they can do anything, it's gonna they're gonna try to rush the ball. Jacksonville's top 5 in against the rush. Pittsburgh's defense is good. Jaguars' offense is kind of good, but they've been beating up on bad teams too. So I just don't see that whole lot of scoring there either.
Somehow the Steelers are 4-2. I don't understand it. But
It's that defense, man. The
yeah,
defense will carry them.
I noticed the defense gives up like a ton of yards and like points, but they make those big plays. Like TJ Watt's like getting like game breaking, like game winning defensive plays. It's not like they're like preventing like a lot of like yards and stuff, but yeah, those big
Pittsburgh,
plays.
they are 28th against the rush, which
Yeah.
is like pretty bad, and they were 25th against the pass.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy that they're that bad, but their defense is still like that good that it's winning them games just based on like the plays they're making. But yeah.
That
Another one I was looking at was Cincinnati at plus 5.5. I think Joe Burrow coming off the bye week, another week of that calf healing up. I think the Bengals are one of those elite teams, and I think 5.5 seems very doable to cover against the 49ers, who've been on a losing streak. Even though I think Purdy's actually going to be playing that game, which is surprising. But
no, that's super surprising. One day they're showing him get his head smashed in. The next day they're showing him at practice. I'm like, what are we talking about here?
yeah,
Um, this might be the only time the entire year that no one had a pick from anyone else's picks, because my honorable mention was actually the Rams at Dallas plus 6.5. I just think I know what happened last week. I stepped out because Bethany's mom was visiting at halftime, and the Rams seemed to be doing fine, and it seemed like the Chargers Chiefs over was going to hit, and life was going to be great. And then by the time we sat down for dinner, and I checked, everything that entire like time slot had flipped on me. But I still think the Rams are going to figure it out. They haven't really had a game where both Cup and Nakua like ball out. And I would love to see, when that happens, I would like to be on the right side of that. And at plus 6.5, uh, gives you a little cushion. But with that, we'll pivot over into the player picks or the player props for this week. Jamie is absolutely destroying this category. Um, just to put it out there, he is 16-11. That he is on either side of this. That is the only person inside that has positive units for the whole show. So he, congratulations, Jamie. He'll be first with 4 picks, and then myself, and then Stone, based off of units from the previous week. So, Jamie, whenever you're ready.
So my first one, I think we touched on this: Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. Pittsburgh's rushing defense is bottom 5, and if it's gonna, if the defense mucks it up somehow without these yardage, then I think Jacksonville wants to run the ball a bunch. I mean, you saw Calvin Ridley is not living up to expectations, so I got Travis Etienne's over at 65.5 yards at minus 115.
I have him on fantasy. He's been balling out.
Yep,
He's been playing great.
He's a young running back. He's a volume running back. They don't, yeah, but their backup Tank Bigsby barely gets involved, so they feed him.
Yeah. So my first pick, both of the picks I have here, and I have a couple others in case they get sniped. They're not going to get sniped because these are like outrageous. You guys are going to laugh at me. This line just came out, and I've been looking for it all week. These are proof of games for both my picks. But the first pick, I'm going to take Will Levis over 160.5 passing yards at minus 118. He threw for that in 10 out of 11 games his senior year of college. He's going to get his first start in the NFL. Yeah, it's just called. Look, and he's getting his first start in the NFL. 160's low. The Falcons are giving up a little bit over 200. I think that the Titans are going to be trying to run the ball, but they'll eventually have to play from behind, and they're going to have to throw it. I could sit here and watch this game and be totally upset the whole time, or this could hit in the first half. Like, so we're going with the number, and that's what we got. 160.5.
Do you know the over/under for that game? It's like
It's super
35
low.
points. It's
Yeah, it's
35
like
points.
35.
It's terrible.
I don't.
At
Are you
least
I
actually
need
gonna
the
watch this
score.
game? Like, you can't
We're
actually
gonna
watch
pass-
it.
I'm totally gonna watch this game. I have 3 monitors and a tablet. I'm totally gonna watch this.
Terrible.
YouTube TV. I'm gonna watch the game.
Atlanta's pass defense is 7th.
Yes,
That and
they only give up.
they run the ball, which it's not a whole
That
lot.
number is very low. I was at minus 118. 160 passing yards. You luck into that. You garbage time your way into 160.
Yeah, we said that same thing about who. I'm not even going to speak on that previous pick, but
Oh, the Mac Hollins pick. He didn't even. He
didn't even get a
zero.
pass.
He didn't even get a target. I almost put him on my list again. His receiving yards is 4.5 this week. That's one catch, dude. I need one catch. Oh man. Anyway, Stone, you're up next.
All right, circling back to that weather game. Denver is the worst team against the rush in the NFL, by like 100 yards or something. I'm gonna go Isaiah Pacheco, 64.5 at minus 115. They were gonna run him anyway, but just on top of potential weather factor, I just think he's gonna easily get 64.5 against that terrible Broncos run defense.
let's look at their updated rankings here. They are dead last, giving up 167 rushing yards a game.
There's 100 out left there for some other player. I don't
Yeah,
know
exactly.
if he's gonna get the other 100. Dang.
Yeah, I was surprised it was that low actually. So, because I don't think there's like Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's not really like
Mm-mm.
doing anything. Jerick McKinnon's not running it. Like,
I would say at home they're slightly better at only giving up 140 yards.
oh, okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Well,
Oh,
still. All right, Jamie, back to you. Second round.
okay, so I'm gonna go back to another not so great game. It's gonna be Giants and Jets. I got Brees Hall over 70.5 rushing yards. I think this is just pure volume. Similar game to the Commanders, I believe. It's two pretty good defenses. New York, the Giants rushing defense is 27. So, I mean, the Jets want to run the ball. They don't want to put it in Zach Wilson's hands. And Hall can break it for 80 anytime. So, that looks like a good one for me.
What odds did you get on that, Jamie?
Minus 115.
Nice. All right. And now here's where you guys think I'm really crazy and things aren't going to go good for me. I got to go outside the box. And I'm going to piggyback off of the Hall pick, but I'm not going to go with Hall. I'm going to go with the guy that's been running his mouth all week. He needs to prove it. This is a career game for him. He needs to prove it. And his line is 14.5. So I'm going Dalvin Cook over 14.5 rushing. And that's at minus 115. I think that they're going to try to feed him a little bit more just to get him to kind of stay silent. At the same time, if he doesn't play well, that's probably the end of his career. So it's like, give me 15 yards. That's it. He only had one rush last week. We won't even talk about that. He's averaging this season 18 rushing yards a game. That's over this. They play the Giants. I expect them to run the ball against the Giants, or at least have somewhat of a lead at some point. And they should maybe try to. We'll see what happens with that.
I mean, to that point, he spoke to his agent and the GM about getting traded. I mean, if the GM does want to give him away, which I don't know why you'd keep him, he's just a distraction. Then they probably do want to feature him a little bit, whether it's running, somewhat. So, not out of the question.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't like it, but
Nobody likes.
I think it's
nobody
it's
likes.
it's better
Give the
than your first
counterpoint.
pick.
Give the
Better
count.
than the first pick.
Let the
I'm in
viewers.
set. I'm in such a bad place. I'm reaching. I'm going into a uncharted territory for most. All right. So Stone, your last pick.
All right. AJ Brown has been killing it the past couple of weeks, and I think it's time for Devonta Smith to probably get some of those catches his way, especially against the Commanders. Not a great defense. 48 and a half yards. The line is at minus 140, which is like terrible, but I think I think he easily hits that. Maybe even worth going for some alt lines. I might look around at those too, but
That's a line I looked at as well. My thinking goes like this: AJ Brown literally destroyed the Commanders last time. I we have to make an adjustment, right? You would think. So maybe shade a safety over his way, leading to Devontae to be open.
yeah.
We also are 27th in passing yardage, so I think
Yep.
that's a good pick.
Yep. Smith started
That's
the
so.
season really good, and then it kind of went towards AJ Brown. I think it might start swinging towards Smith a little bit more. At least somebody's got to stop AJ Brown. Like they just got to look at his numbers and be like, we can't let this dude get that many yards against us every week. But
It
yeah,
might not even have to do with AJ Brown. The Commanders might just give you 50 just for no. AJ Brown might also kill it.
yeah,
I'm glad someone brought up the Commanders. I would love to talk about how terrible they are. And I watched that entire game, and they only scored on when they muffed a punt and only had to go 20 yards. They were leading the league in first down passes. Are you serious? We had a Robinson line last week, and they had Rodriguez in the game
that was
getting
terrible.
more rushes. Like, what are they do? What are you
The,
doing?
the
Like, you are
announcers were
not out
like,
of this.
they want to give him a look, and I'm like, well, it's not. Trust me, it's not Robinson who sucks. It's the offensive line. They suck.
Yeah,
Rushing, passing, no matter what. Anyone's going to look terrible behind that. So I can't believe that. And I just can't believe. I mean, if your offensive line is that bad, why are we not running screen passes? You don't even have to run screen passes with the offensive line. You can do wide receiver screens where you have two guys out there. Logan Thomas, Curtis Samuel will go out there, block for, McLaurin. We need to get McLaurin the ball more. I could rant all day about this.
it's crazy that you had this is the offensive line you have, and you have a rookie quarterback, and you can't find a way to run the ball more than like 30% of the time. That's insane. And then when you do run the ball, you don't give it to your number one, who you drafted high. You don't give it to your number two, who Gibson, who even though fumbles, isn't has 1,000 all-purpose yards in multiple seasons in the NFL. And you go down to the third guy in a one-score game against a division rival. You got it. I can't. Moving on, Jamie. What's your third? What's your third pick here?
Going back to games that suck, I got Barkley's over on his rushing attempts at 17.5. Saquon Barkley, and that is at minus 115 as well. Talking about the Giants defense, let's talk about the Jets defense. Their rushing defense is 26th. So neither of these teams are good at defending the run. And, needless to say, the Giants aren't great, but what are they doing? They're feeding the ball to their best player. They did a good job of that last week. And I think they're just going to do it again. I mean, let's see. How many rushes did the old boy have last week? He had 21. So, and that was a low scoring game. So I think they continue to feed the beast.
He's their best player by far, so
By
they
far.
they should keep giving him the ball.
People are saying about Daniel Jones being out and all the quarterback stuff. The difference maker is when it doesn't matter who's playing quarterback. When Barkley's in the game and not injured, they're much better. Daniel Jones would have been just as good as Tyrod, probably better if Barkley was there. Instead, he got his helmet caved in on sacks instead. Anyway, Jamie, your last pick for week 8.
My last pick. I mean, I have a couple here. I'm going to do some honorable mentions first. I'm looking at Swift. His rushing attempts are 13.5. They should theoretically be up, but we gave him a pretty good game last time we played. So I think I'm ultimately going to settle on Keenan Allen's receptions. I got over 7.5, and that's at plus 105. I was looking at, their opponent, and they do a really good job at defending the run, not so great at the pass. So I think the Chargers, their running offense hasn't been efficient. They've given the running back the ball. He hasn't gone a whole lot. So I think they lean on the pass, and Keenan Allen's soaking up those touches.
Yep, I got it on the board. Stone, did you have any honorable mentions?
I was looking at both Jacksonville wide receivers, Ridley and Kirk. I think they're in the 50s for their lines. I think Jamie brought it up earlier. Pittsburgh's been giving up a ton of yards on running and receiving and passing. So I was looking at that, but
So I got two. One of them is in relation to the Will Levis starting thing. I think whether you take either Spears or Henry, I think someone's going to go over their carries and their rushing yards. Uh, been a lot of talk about Henry being moved, so maybe they're going to showcase Spears a little bit. That's why I didn't really look into either one. Maybe they put one over the other to try to show them or see what they have. And then the other thing, which I loved, it would have been my first pick, but it's too much equity, is Jordan Love over 0.5 interceptions at minus 200. I could not put minus 200 on this board, but he is highly inaccurate. The Vikings are a hot team, and I see them having to throw the ball to even keep up. And the more he throws it, the higher chance of an interception. It was at 205. I just checked it again. It was at 195. So it is trending down. Can't really make that pick here in case I lose, and it would cost me way too many units, but that'll be on my personal ticket.
Sounds good. And just cleaning up my last pick, the Bears, the Chargers' opponent, are 5th in rushing and 29th in passing defense. So that's where I'm getting that Keenan Allen pick from. Made a very general statement.
I like it. So that's week 8. We're looking for a bounce back week. Make sure if you're following with us, you're doing it responsibly. And thanks for spending your time with us. We'll see you next week.
I think we gotta do touchdowns still.
Oh, thank goodness. I actually don't have a touchdown. I forgot about the touchdowns. Why don't you guys go first?
See, well, this is where it starts to get hard because there's been so many people picked.
Yeah, that makes it kind of fun.
So I had 3 written down here, and I got to look at the board a little bit. See, like I had ETN, that's off the board. Did I do Hertz? See, that's okay. Hertz is still up on there. And did someone pick Barkley? Those were my 2 that I looked at. No.
I don't see Saquon Barkley on the list.
So I'm going to go with Barkley. His was at plus 130.
That's for 5 in a row. I'm
Yeah,
not
5 in a
streak
row.
on those.
Catching the fire.
I'm gonna go ahead and link it with my one of my player picks, Devonta Smith. I just think he's due for a bounce back game, and his number's at plus 150.
What was the Barkley at?
Plus 130.
All right, and the one that I have here that I don't see on the list is, I think Bijan Robinson has something to prove. So I'm going to go Robinson.
Honestly, that is a guy that I looked at.
Yeah.
My picks. Go ahead with his odds. Plus 180.
Oh, his odds are plus 180 anytime touchdown score. So, yeah, I'm expecting him to kind of pop out. But
yeah,
what were you going to say about that, Jamie?
After the fiasco of last week about, was he injured? Like, what was going on there? I think the NFL he probably gave them a stern word, like you better play the guy next week, or you better announce that he's out early. So they haven't announced he's out, so I think he'll be playing, and they better use him. I would think.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I just couldn't see it being like super malicious. There's a lot of speculation, but I feel like if it was, yeah, I just expected him when he comes back to actually like make an impact. And I expect him to be winning. And if he gets in a touchdown, I still don't understand draft. It goes back to one of my futures, drafting him and then having Algier, and then like they both need the ball in the same kind of like that's just yeah. Anyway, and now you have Cordell Patterson is
Yeah.
back. Like there's a lot of guys in that backfield that are just
I couldn't
it
believe
seems
that
to be
Cordell
weird.
Patterson was like getting the amount of carries that he was when Algier is still there. But
Yeah.
whatever.
You can't feature all those guys. And I know you're like lacking at wide receiver, but you can't feature three running backs.
Yeah, they're basically using Bijan in the Cordell Patterson role. So, the second they drafted him, they should have traded Patterson. They're using him for the pitches, the screens, anything, a little gadget worthy. That's where Cordell Patterson came in. So I don't know. I guess he could turn into Devin Hester and be their punt returner, but there's not enough space in the backfield for all three.
He's too old for that. They got to get the young guy. Yeah.
I
Anyway, that's all I got to say about that.
completely agree.
Yep. So anyway, I guess that'll do it for week 8. I've already kind of said the outro, so I won't repeat it myself. We'll see you guys next week.